So this is the new 2018 MacBook Air Retina, and it's been totally updated everywhere. It's an entirely different laptop, and unlike the 12-inch MacBook, I think this has a place to exist. There's an actual reason and an actual benefit for people to buy this over the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So here's my review on the MacBook Air and whether or not it's worth the money. So build quality, design, materials, it's in line with the new MacBooks. It's got a full aluminum body, it's got a metal hinge, there's no light up Apple logo. The hinge is solid, there's no screen wobble, and the keyboard area has almost no flex to it. It's a very well built laptop. There are two upward firing speakers that flank both sides of the keyboard, and it sounds really good. It genuinely surprised me when I blasted it at full volume. I did not expect it to be this good, but it does distort a little bit at max volume. I don't have the 13-inch MacBook Pro right now to compare side by side, but I don't remember hearing any distortion on those speakers. These are much better than the previous generation MacBook, and it's easily one of the best speakers on any thin and light Ultrabook on the market right now. The screen is pretty good. Objectively, I think it's a really nice screen, but coming from a MacBook Pro as my main computer for the past 2 years, it's not quite as good. So the colors aren't as vibrant and it doesn't get as bright. It's actually 300 nits versus 500 nits on the MacBook Pros. But unless you're coming from a MacBook Pro or any laptop with a really good screen like the Dell XPS for example, I think you're gonna like this screen. It's definitely a massive improvement from the previous MacBook Air. It uses the same 3rd generation butterfly switches just like the 2018 MacBook Pros. It's not my favorite keyboard, but I did get used to it pretty quickly coming from a mechanical keyboard. There's no touch bar option, but it does come standard with the Touch ID fingerprint sensor, which you won't find on the MacBook Pro without the touch bar. The trackpad is also the best on any laptop. It's the same Force Touch trackpad as on the MacBook Pro. It's big, it's really comfortable for gestures and dragging files. It's a big step up from the previous MacBook Air. The performance on this laptop is better than the 12-inch MacBook, but worse than the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So what separates the three laptops is that even though this uses an ultra-low power Y series processor from Intel, it still has a fan. It's a single fan, but it dramatically improves performance in sustained workloads because you have active cooling in there. Both this and the 12-inch MacBook will throttle if you hit it hard, but this will give you higher clocks because of that fan. The $1,300 MacBook Pro has 2 fans and it doesn't throttle, so for stuff that puts a sustained load on the CPU for an extended period of time, you're gonna want that MacBook Pro. And for basic tasks, all 3 of these laptops run totally fine. I will say though, for 4K video editing, specifically in Final Cut Pro 10, this thing will handle it and it will work without any stuttering. And for exporting in H.265, the MacBook Air performs better than the MacBook Pro because it uses the newer 8th generation CPUs, which have dedicated hardware support for encoding H.265. But yeah, all 3 of these laptops are dual core, they're all from Intel. It's just that they have a different number of fans which gives them different sustained performance. Fan noise is also totally silent on idle, like the fans don't spin at all during light use, so it's silent just like the 12-inch MacBook while still getting better performance. The battery life on this thing is exactly the same as the MacBook Pro and much better than the 12-inch MacBook. So this will get you about 8 to 9 hours, literally the exact same as the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the 12-inch MacBook gets about 6 to 7 hours. I also watched some movies streaming through a local server, 1080p video, 80% brightness and max volume. It lasted me 12.5 hours, which is exactly what I get with the 15-inch and the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So the MacBook Air is very similar to the 13-inch MacBook Pro without touch bar. It's got the same build quality and almost the same design, the same trackpad, the same keyboard, almost the same stereo speakers. I mean, really, you can't go wrong with either one. Micro Center is currently offering $200 off the price, so you can get this for $1,000, but Apple is also offering the MacBook Pro without touch bar refurbished for $1,100, so I guess it's really just whatever is cheaper. If you can get this thing for $1,000, I'd recommend it. It's a great laptop, it's just that at $1,200, it's a little bit harder to recommend. So that's the end of this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I hope you found it helpful, and I will see you guys next time.